Imagine a woman who once sat in the front rows at Wimbledon, graced red carpets, and received invitations to the most exclusive Hollywood parties. A woman envied by the world. She had a title, a prince for a husband, and what seemed like a clear path to becoming a new era icon. But what's happening to Meghan Markle today has turned into a real nightmare, a true chronicle of a fall from the celebrity Olympus. Today, A-list stars are running from her like she's a radioactive stain. Her name in Hollywood has become synonymous with toxicity, and insiders call her the scariest example of how to ruin your own career with your own hands. The whispers started quietly in the exclusive hills of Montecito, but now it's erupted into a full-blown Hollywood scandal that's shaking the entertainment industry to its core. High-ranking Hollywood sources are revealing something absolutely devastating about Meghan Markle. And believe me, it goes much deeper than anyone could have imagined. Agents and publicists across Los Angeles are now actively warning their A-list clients against being photographed with the woman who is still desperately clinging to the title of Duchess of Sussex. We're talking about an unprecedented level of toxicity that's causing industry professionals to treat her like radioactive waste. According to insiders speaking on condition of anonymity, the instructions given to Hollywood's biggest names are crystal clear and brutally direct. Even if you're friends with Meghan Markle, even if you happen to be at the same charity event in Montecito or a private dinner, refuse to be photographed under any circumstances. Information is coming from leading talent agencies that any commercial association with this woman will now be considered so toxic for a top-tier artist that it simply won't align with their brand. But here's where it gets truly shocking. It's not just about avoiding business partnerships or endorsement deals. We're talking about agents literally telling their clients to avoid photo ops at social events. Imagine the scene. Hollywood's elite are now strategically positioning themselves at parties to avoid accidentally ending up in the same frame as Meghan. It's as if she carries some career-destroying curse that nobody wants to catch. The level of paranoia surrounding Meghan's presence in Hollywood circles has reached a fever pitch. Sources report that some celebrities have even left events early upon discovering her presence just to avoid potential association. This represents a complete downfall of a woman who once so desperately wanted an A-list life that she invited celebrities she didn't even know to her royal wedding. The contrast couldn't be more stark or more humiliating. What makes this situation even more devastating is that this blacklist isn't the result of some coordinated conspiracy against her. It's an organic reaction from an industry that's simply fed up. The entertainment industry thrives on relationships, trust, and mutual benefit, but Meghan has systematically destroyed every bridge she's tried to build. The very people she aggressively pursued when she first came to California are now leading the march to distance themselves from her toxic brand. But this is just the beginning of this Hollywood nightmare. The transformation from Hollywood darling to industry pariah didn't happen overnight, but the speed of Meghan's fall from grace has stunned even seasoned entertainment industry veterans. Remember when she first came to California with Prince Harry, and every major publication was calling them Hollywood's new power couple? Those days seem like a distant memory, because what we're witnessing is the complete and utter dismantling of what could have been one of the most powerful brands in entertainment history. Industry insiders are now revealing the exact moment things changed for Meghan in Hollywood circles. It wasn't a single catastrophic event, but rather a series of calculated moves that systematically alienated every major player who initially welcomed her with open arms. The Oprah interview was the first major red flag for many celebrities, but it was the relentless attacks on the royal family that really sealed her fate. Hollywood operates on loyalty and discretion, and watching Meghan publicly tear down her own family for profit sent shivers down the spines of A-list stars who suddenly realized they could be next. Sources close to major talent agencies are painting a picture even more devastating than anyone suspected. The problem isn't just that Meghan burned bridges with the royal family, it's that she's shown herself to be someone who will betray anyone for the right price. When you're dealing with celebrities who have billion-dollar empires and carefully crafted public images, the last thing they want is someone in their circle who might sell their secrets to the highest bidder. The message became clear. If she could betray a 1,000-year-old institution for a Netflix deal, what's to stop her from betraying a friendship for a lucrative tabloid offer? But here's what's truly devastating about Meghan's current situation. It's not just A-list stars who are avoiding her. She's actively being studied as a cautionary tale of how not to handle fame and influence. Entertainment executives are literally using her career trajectory as an example of what happens when you prioritize short-term financial gain over building long-term relationships. The woman who once sat in the royal box at Wimbledon is now being used as a masterclass in professional self-destruction. The reality of the toxic brand extends far beyond personal relationships. Major studios, streaming platforms, and production companies are now reluctant to associate their names with any project connected to Meghan because of the negative associations. Her brand has become synonymous with drama, controversy, and failure. Even Netflix, which gave her and Harry an $87 million deal, is reportedly in serious talks about recouping their investment. When your own business partners are questioning your value, you know you've reached a point of no return. And the most crushing part of this toxic brand reality is that Meghan created it herself, but she is completely convinced that someone else is to blame. What we're about to reveal is absolutely mind-blowing because Meghan Markle has sunk into such a level of paranoid delusion that it's honestly terrifying to witness. According to bombshell new reports from veteran tabloid journalist Matthew Acton, Meghan has convinced herself that there is a coordinated show business conspiracy specifically designed to destroy her career. But the most shocking part isn't that she believes in this conspiracy. It's the specific example that supposedly proves her theory, and it involves none other than Taylor Swift. Imagine this absolutely unhinged scenario. Meghan Markle genuinely believes that Taylor Swift deliberately chose the date of her engagement announcement to Travis Kelce to coincide with the launch of her Netflix series Love, Meghan. She's convinced that one of the biggest superstars in the world sat down with her team and said, "Let's make sure we announce this vital personal milestone on the same day that Meghan Markle launches her lifestyle show." The level of self-importance and delusion required to believe that Taylor Swift even knows when Meghan's Netflix series is coming out is staggering. Sources close to Meghan report that she has developed what they call a dark PR arts theory. She's convinced that powerful forces in Hollywood are using sophisticated public relations techniques to deliberately overshadow every single one of her projects. According to insiders speaking with Radar Online, Meghan has told friends that Taylor's engagement announcement was just the latest blow in what she believes is a coordinated campaign to sabotage her efforts. The irony here is absolutely breathtaking, because if anyone in this scenario is guilty of employing dark PR arts, it's Meghan herself. Let's talk about the elephant in the room that Meghan seems to have conveniently forgotten. She hired Sunshine Sachs, one of the most notorious PR firms in Hollywood, known for its aggressive and often underhanded tactics. This is the same woman who allegedly used bot networks and paid social media campaigns to attack anyone who criticized her. The Sussex Squad, her army of online trolls, has terrorized critics for years using the very dark PR arts she now accuses others of using. The projection is so blatant that it would be comical if it weren't so disturbing. But here's where the delusion gets even more twisted. Meghan is reportedly telling people that she sees herself in this situation as a Princess Diana-type figure, convinced that the same forces that allegedly persecuted Diana are now attacking her. This comparison is not only completely delusional, but deeply offensive to Diana's memory and incredibly damaging to Harry's mental health. A woman who married into the most famous family in the world and then systematically destroyed that relationship for profit is now positioning herself as a victim of the same caliber as Princess Diana. The conspiracy delusion reveals something far darker about Meghan's mental state, and it's about to get even more disturbing. What happened with Dolly Parton left Meghan Markle utterly devastated, and when you understand the full story, you'll realize just how devastating this rejection was. Dolly Parton is literally one of the most generous celebrities on the planet, someone who rarely turns down requests for collaboration and has built her entire career on supporting other people. For someone like Dolly to give Meghan Markle a flat-out rejection speaks volumes about how toxic her brand has become, even to the kindest stars in the entertainment industry. Sources close to the situation report that Meghan reached out to Dolly about appearing on Love, Meghan, confident that enlisting the country music legend would bring her instant credibility and respectability. In Meghan's mind, a Dolly Parton association with her lifestyle brand would be the ultimate endorsement, a signal to the rest of Hollywood that she was still worth investing in. The rejection hit so hard that insiders describe Meghan as being completely devastated by Dolly's refusal to participate. But here's where Meghan's paranoid delusion reaches truly insane levels. According to sources speaking with Radar Online, when Dolly turned down the opportunity to appear on her show, Meghan immediately became convinced that Kate Middleton's influence was behind the rejection. She's apparently telling people that there is a quiet campaign to undermine her efforts being orchestrated from across the Atlantic by the royal family. The idea that the Princess of Wales is personally calling Dolly Parton to sabotage Meghan's lifestyle show is so absurd that it belongs in a psychological thriller, not real life. Let's think rationally for just a minute. Dolly Parton is a true Anglophile who has performed for the British royal family and deeply respects the monarchy as an institution. She is someone who understands the importance of discretion and loyalty, values that Meghan has consistently demonstrated she lacks. Why would someone like Dolly want to associate with that kind of toxic drama if you have been publicly attacking the royal family for years and positioning yourself as their enemy? This isn't a conspiracy, it's common sense. The Dolly situation perfectly illustrates everything that is wrong with Meghan's approach to Hollywood relationships. She thought she could use her title of Duchess of Sussex to strong-arm A-list stars into doing her bidding, but she fundamentally misunderstood how the entertainment industry actually works. Celebrities don't just care about titles. They care about character, reliability, and mutual respect. Meghan has demonstrated none of these qualities, and now she's facing the consequences. What makes this rejection even more humiliating is that Dolly Parton is exactly the type of celebrity who would normally be a perfect fit for Meghan's brand. She's beloved, non-controversial, and embodies everything positive about American show business. If someone like Dolly won't work with you, it sends a clear signal to every other celebrity in Hollywood about your place in the industry hierarchy. But the devastation from the Dolly Parton story is just a symptom of a much deeper problem, which is about to get even more disturbing. What Meghan Markle is doing to Prince Harry's mental health by constantly referencing Princess Diana's memory is nothing short of psychological manipulation, and it represents one of the most troubling aspects of their relationship. Sources report that Meghan has convinced Harry that the same forces that allegedly persecuted his mother are now attacking them, and she's using this distorted narrative to justify every failure and every misstep in their Hollywood careers. This isn't just delusional thinking, it's actively damaging the mental well-being of a man who has already struggled with the trauma of losing his mother. The comparison of Meghan's situation to Princess Diana's circumstances is so fundamentally flawed that it borders on being offensive to Diana's memory. Princess Diana was trapped in a loveless marriage, struggled with mental health issues, and was genuinely persecuted by certain elements within the royal establishment. Meghan, on the other hand, chose to leave the royal family, chose to attack them publicly, and chose to prioritize financial gain over family relationships. These situations couldn't be more different. Yet Meghan continues to position herself as Diana's spiritual successor in terms of victimhood. According to sources close to the situation, Meghan regularly tells Harry that they are facing the same coordinated campaign that Diana experienced. She has convinced him that every negative story, every failed project, and every celebrity rejection is part of a larger conspiracy to destroy them. This paranoid worldview isn't just affecting Harry's relationship with his family, it's warping his entire perception of reality. A man who once openly talked about therapy and dealing with trauma is now being fed a constant diet of conspiracy theories by his own wife. But here's what's truly sickening about this Diana comparison. Meghan is exploiting Harry's deepest wounds for her own gain. She knows that invoking the alleged persecution of his mother will trigger his protective instincts and his fear of losing another important woman in his life. It's emotional manipulation of the highest order. Using a man's grief and trauma as tools to maintain control over her constant references to Princess Diana have become a calculated tool used both to manipulate public sentiment and justify her own failures. The fact that she is willing to exploit Diana's memory in this way reveals something truly dark about her character. The most heartbreaking part of this whole situation is watching what it's doing to Harry himself. In recent interviews, he has begun to echo the same conspiracy theories about threats to their safety and coordinated campaigns against them. The confident, charismatic prince who once charmed the world has been replaced by a paranoid, isolated man who sees enemies everywhere. His own family members, including his brother William, are reportedly deeply concerned about his mental state and the influence Meghan is having on his psychological well-being. What makes this Diana comparison even more offensive is the context in which it is used. Princess Diana faced genuine persecution and tragedy, while Meghan uses the same narratives to explain why Dolly Parton won't appear on her lifestyle show. The scale of self-importance required to juxtapose these situations is staggering, and it demonstrates just how detached from reality Meghan has become. And the most tragic thing is this distorted invocation of Diana's memory is destroying the very relationships that could help Harry heal. The celebrity migration away from Meghan and Harry and back towards the real royals is happening so dramatically, it's like watching a nature documentary where herds of animals sense danger and move to safer territory. What we are witnessing is the complete unraveling of Meghan's carefully constructed Hollywood social circle, as A-list stars who once sought her attention are now actively choosing sides, and they are not choosing hers. The constellation of stars now associated with William and Kate reads like a who's who of entertainment royalty, and it's driving Meghan mad with jealousy. Let's start with the most painful rejections for Meghan, beginning with David and Victoria Beckham. They were supposed to be her gateway into the highest echelons of social culture, but Meghan completely destroyed that relationship with her own paranoid accusations. She falsely accused Victoria Beckham of leaking stories about her to the press, a claim that was not only untrue but deeply offensive to someone who had genuinely tried to welcome her into their circle. The Beckhams, who are now regular fixtures at royal events and enjoy a close relationship with William and Kate, represent everything Meghan thought she could have but systematically destroyed with her own behavior. Then there's the situation with George and Amal Clooney, which perfectly illustrates how fundamentally Meghan misunderstood celebrity culture from the beginning. She invited the Clooneys to her wedding despite never having cultivated a genuine relationship with them, treating them as props in her royal fantasy rather than as real friends. George and Amal, being sophisticated individuals who understand the importance of authentic relationships, immediately recognized this superficial approach. They are now part of the celebrity constellation that maintains a warm relationship with the working royals while keeping their distance from the Sussex circus. But perhaps the most devastating example of this A-list exodus is what happened at Taylor Swift's Eras Tour concert in London. While Meghan attended a show in Los Angeles and failed to secure any personal meeting or photo opportunity with Taylor, Prince William, Prince George, and Princess Charlotte not only attended the London concert, but were invited backstage for a private meet and greet. The symbolism couldn't be clearer. The biggest pop star in the world chose the future king over the self-proclaimed Hollywood royal, and the photos from that backstage encounter sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. What is particularly telling about this celebrity migration is that it is not driven by any coordinated campaign or royal pressure. These stars are making calculated decisions about which relationships align with their long-term interests and legacy goals. Celebrities like Taylor Swift, the Beckhams, and the Clooneys are not just thinking about money. They are thinking about how they will be remembered in history. A friendship with the future king and queen carries a weight and permanence that an association with a reality TV royal simply cannot provide. Hollywood sources are reporting that Meghan is becoming increasingly isolated in social circles, with many A-list stars actively avoiding events where she might be present. The woman who once dreamed of being a bridge between Hollywood and the royal family has instead become a cautionary tale about what happens when you choose short-term drama over building long-term relationships. The irony is devastating. In trying to leverage her royal connections for Hollywood success, she has ended up losing both the royal family and the respect of the entertainment industry. But the most crushing part of this A-list exodus is that it exposes a fundamental flaw in Meghan's entire Hollywood strategy. Behind the scenes at Netflix, executives are having conversations about Meghan Markle that would absolutely humiliate her if she knew what was actually being said. According to industry insiders, while Meghan continues to push her conspiracy theories about deliberate sabotage and coordinated campaigns against her projects, Netflix executives are privately dismissing these claims as desperate excuses from someone who simply cannot deliver on their promises. The streaming giant, which once saw the Sussexes as a golden ticket to prestige content, is now wondering if their $87 million investment was one of the biggest mistakes in company history. The numbers associated with Meghan's projects on Netflix paint a picture of consistent failure that no amount of conspiracy theories can explain. Love Meghan, her lifestyle series that she believed would make her the next Martha Stewart, has barely attracted any significant interest or viewership. The launch was so poorly executed that even with Netflix's full marketing power, the show has barely registered on social media or in mainstream discussions. When a Taylor Swift engagement announcement completely overshadowed the premiere, it wasn't because of some coordinated plot. It was because no one was paying attention to Meghan's show in the first place. But here's where it gets really embarrassing for Meghan. Netflix executives are reportedly telling people in private meetings that they have never worked with a talent who was so convinced that external forces were responsible for their failures. While other creators are focused on improving their content, developing better marketing strategies, or building genuine connections with their audience, Meghan spends her time crafting elaborate theories about why everyone is against her. This victim mentality has made her virtually impossible to work with, according to sources familiar with the production process. The contrast between Meghan's conspiracy theories and the reality of her Netflix performance becomes even starker when you look at what otherwise successful creators are doing. Shows that launch on the same platform have managed to generate real buzz, genuine social media engagement, and measurable audience growth. The difference isn't that these other creators have some special protection from sabotage. The difference is that they are creating content that people actually want to watch and talking about their work in a way that doesn't alienate potential viewers. Netflix sources also report that Meghan's demands and expectations are becoming increasingly unrealistic as her projects continue to underperform. She is allegedly expecting the same level of promotional support and marketing budget as established Netflix stars, despite consistently failing to deliver the viewership numbers that would justify that investment. This sense of entitlement and lack of self-awareness has created a toxic working relationship that is leaving executives wondering if they want to continue the partnership after the current contractual obligations are fulfilled. Perhaps most damaging is how Meghan's conspiracy theories are impacting her ability to learn from her mistakes and improve future projects. Instead of analyzing what went wrong with previous launches and adjusting her approach accordingly, she is convinced that the problems lie entirely in external sabotage, not in her own strategic decisions. This mindset makes growth and improvement virtually impossible, creating a cycle of failure that is becoming increasingly expensive for Netflix to subsidize. And the most devastating part of this Netflix nightmare is that it's not even the worst example of Meghan's celebrity rejection pattern. The growing list of celebrities who have distanced themselves from Meghan Markle reads like a masterclass in how to systematically destroy every meaningful relationship in Hollywood. And this pattern is so consistent that it's actually being studied by industry professionals as an example of what not to do. What makes this rejection pattern even more devastating is that many of these celebrities initially tried to support Meghan, only to be burned by her behavior and left with no choice but to cut ties. The message circulating throughout the entertainment industry is crystal clear. Getting involved with Meghan Markle is a career risk that no one can afford to take. Let's consider the most shocking example of this pattern, which involves Meghan's own family relationships in Hollywood circles. Jessica Mulroney, who was once considered Meghan's closest friend and most ardent supporter, has been completely excised from her life after a social media scandal that Meghan could have easily helped resolve. Instead of standing by someone who had been loyal to her for years, Meghan threw Jessica under the bus as soon as it became convenient. This sent shockwaves through social circles because it demonstrated that even Meghan's most devoted friends were not safe from being discarded when they became inconvenient. The situation with Millie McIntosh reveals another troubling aspect of Meghan's relationship patterns. Millie, a British reality TV star who genuinely tried to welcome Meghan into British social circles, was ghosted as soon as Meghan started dating Prince Harry. Sources close to the situation report that Meghan literally stopped answering Millie's calls and texts as soon as she decided that connections to reality TV were beneath her new royal status. The message this sent to other celebrities was unmistakable. Meghan would use you for whatever you had to offer and then discard you when someone better came along. But perhaps the most telling example of this rejection pattern lies in how Meghan has been forced to align herself with other cancelled or controversial figures, because these are the only celebrities willing to associate with her brand at this point. Enlisting Chrissy Teigen for her lifestyle brand was not a strategic coup. It was a desperate move from someone who has run out of options. Chrissy, who has her own history of social media scandals and public relations disasters, represents the only level of celebrity that Meghan can still access. It is a far cry from the A-list endorsement she once dreamed of securing. Industry insiders report that even Meghan's attempts to cozy up to the Kardashian family have largely fallen flat. Despite numerous attempts to ingratiate herself with the reality TV dynasty, while there has occasionally been social media engagement, the Kardashians have been notably careful not to offer any substantial endorsements or collaborations. Even a family that has built its empire on controversy and publicity has apparently decided that associating with Meghan carries too much risk and too little reward. The most damaging aspect of this celebrity rejection pattern is that it creates a self-perpetuating cycle of isolation. As more high-profile celebrities distance themselves from Meghan, it becomes increasingly difficult for her to attract new supporters. No one wants to be the first to step out of line and associate with someone who has been so comprehensively rejected by their peers. The social proof that drives so much of Hollywood culture is working entirely against Meghan, making her brand of toxicity even more radioactive. What makes this pattern particularly tragic is that many of these rejections could have been avoided if Meghan had approached relationships with a basic level of loyalty, gratitude, and strategic thinking. Instead, she has cultivated a reputation for burning bridges, exploiting friendships, and prioritizing short-term gain over building long-term relationships. And the most devastating part of this celebrity rejection pattern is that it exposes the fundamental impossibility of Meghan's Hollywood dreams. The single biggest strategic error of Meghan Markle's entire career has been severing her ties with the royal family, because that royal association was literally the only thing that made her interesting to the Hollywood elite in the first place. What we are witnessing now is the complete erosion of her relevance as that royal connection becomes increasingly distant, leaving her with absolutely nothing to offer A-list stars who are used to dealing with people who wield real power, real influence, and real cultural significance. The royal connection catastrophe represents the moment when Meghan's entire Hollywood strategy was exposed as being built on a foundation that she herself destroyed. Let's be perfectly honest about who Meghan was before she married Prince Harry. She was a supporting actress in a cable TV show that most people had never heard of. She ran a lifestyle blog with middling traffic and struggled to gain any significant traction in an industry that is notoriously difficult to break into. Her level of talent, charisma, and industry connections were utterly ordinary, which is precisely why she remained a supporting cast member despite years of trying to climb the Hollywood ladder. The only thing that changed her status was becoming the Duchess of Sussex. And the moment she relinquished that role, she lost the only currency that mattered in social circles. Industry sources are revealing just how dramatic this fall from relevance has been, comparing celebrity behavior before and after Meghan's departure from the royal family. When she was a working member of the royal family, A-list stars were literally fighting for invitations to events where she might be present. Wedding guest list read like the guest list for the Academy Awards, with celebrities who did not know her personally, but were still desperate to associate. Once upon a time, celebrities eagerly sought photo opportunities with Meghan, hoping to bask in royal glamour. But now, those same celebrities actively avoid photo sessions with her, even at private social events. The contrast between how celebrities treat working members of the royal family and how they treat Meghan couldn't be starker or more humiliating. When Prince William and Princess Catherine attend events, they are surrounded by genuine enthusiasm from A-list stars. Taylor Swift's backstage meeting with William and his children generated millions of views on social media and sincere excitement among fans worldwide. Meanwhile, Meghan's appearance at social events is met with, at best, polite condescension, and at worst, strategic avoidance. What makes this royal connection catastrophe even more devastating is that Meghan had every opportunity to maintain her relevance while pursuing Hollywood projects. Sarah Ferguson, for example, has managed to maintain ties with royal circles even after her divorce from Prince Andrew, allowing her to leverage those relationships for decades. But Meghan chose to burn bridges, publicly attacking the institution and positioning herself as an enemy of the very family that initially gave her worldwide recognition. The entertainment industry functions on a hierarchy that places royals above even the biggest celebrities because royal status represents something that money can't buy and talent can't achieve. You're either born into it or you marry into it. And once you've got it, it opens doors that remain permanently closed to everyone else. Celebrities like George Clooney, David Beckham, and Taylor Swift may be incredibly famous and wealthy, but they still understand that royal connections represent a level of prestige and historical significance that their careers alone cannot provide. Sources in Hollywood circles report that the royal connection catastrophe has rendered Meghan virtually irrelevant to the celebrities she desperately wants to associate with. Without the real significance of the Sussex title and royal support, she is just another former actress trying to build a lifestyle brand in an extremely crowded market. The magic and mystique that once surrounded her have completely evaporated, leaving behind someone who offers nothing unique or valuable to people who already have everything. But the most tragic aspect of this royal connection catastrophe is that it reveals the utter untenability of Meghan's current situation. What we are witnessing with Meghan Markle represents something truly unprecedented in modern celebrity culture, a complete and irreversible destruction of opportunities that can never be recovered or recreated. Industry insiders are now openly stating what many have been whispering for months. Meghan has reached a point of no return, where the damage to her reputation, relationships, and brand is so comprehensive that no amount of PR rehabilitation can salvage her Hollywood dreams. The most devastating aspect of this situation is that she will never be able to reconcile with Queen Elizabeth II or Prince Philip, both of whom died bearing the weight of her public attacks. The accusations against the Commonwealth and the allegations of racism will forever hang over any attempt at reconciliation. You cannot apologize to the dead, and you cannot undo the pain inflicted on elderly family members in their final years. Even if Meghan wanted to attempt a reconciliation with the surviving members of the royal family, the level of public admission that would be required would destroy her entire persona that she has built. She would have to admit that the Oprah interview was filled with lies, that the accusations of racism were unfounded, and that her victim narrative was a calculated strategy. The pride and narcissism that led her to this point make such admissions psychologically impossible. But here's what makes her situation truly hopeless. The entertainment industry has completely moved on. While she obsesses over conspiracy theories, Hollywood has continued to create new stars and build relationships with people who bring real value. Industry veterans point to her trajectory as a masterclass in career destruction through strategic incompetence. The cruel truth that no one wants to tell Meghan is that she was never as important as she thought she was, and now she is as irrelevant as she feared. The point of no return isn't just about damaged relationships, it's about the complete collapse of delusions that were never based in reality. So, what do you think about Meghan's complete Hollywood implosion?